Howdy Banger fans, Blaine Smith coming at you to talk albums of the year. Now, you've heard from most members of the Banger family about what our picks for album of the year were. However, there's one crucial member we haven't heard from yet, and that's you, the viewer. Yes, I'm going that corny with it. It's 2020. I think we could all use it. So, this is a rundown of your top picks for albums of the year. We asked you what they were. We compiled a list. We ranked. We tabulated. We came up with your top 10 albums. We're going to cover 10 through 6 in this video. A different Banger host will pop up, give you a little rundown of each album, their thoughts, their feelings. It's like a Christmas advent calendar. We don't know who we're going to get. So, hey, let's crack open number 10.
What's up everyone, Riley here, and coming in at number 10, as voted by Banger TV viewers, we have Ulcerit's Stare Into Death and Be Still. This album came out back in April, and I'm so excited that it made the viewers' top 10 list. If you watched our video where the Banger crew picked out their albums of the year, you might just be familiar with the fact that this was my album of the year. I love this record. It is so heavy, it's so thick, it is so thunderously dynamic. This band literally, they just take a super sharp blade and they cut through every piece of light that they can see, and it creates this crevice where this hell of a black hole can seep through and suck in every piece of light and matter surrounding it. It is such a roughly textured, almost claustrophobic album, but it is still so beautifully melancholic at the same time, and that contrast really set it apart from every other album this year for me. I cannot get enough of it, and I am so glad that the rest of you can't get enough of it either. What a fitting piece for the year of 2020. Stare Into Death and Be Still is more than well deserving of a 5 out of 5 skulls. So sick. So sick.
Howdy Banger fans, Blaine Smith reviewing one of your album of the year picks. It was the Ocean Collective's Phanerozoic 2, Mesozoic, Cenozoic, and yes, I got all your messages. I left you on a bit of a cliffhanger because I reviewed the first part of this 2-album release and gave a score that was kind of dependent on what this album was like, and then didn't get a chance to review it until now. But here, better late than never. Don't be a jerk. On the last album I said I really liked it, but I thought it started slow and my favorite tracks were at the end of the album, and I'm happy to say the first track of this album leads perfectly out of the end of the last album and really kicked things off, and I was like, oh, thank God. That's great. The second track then has the return of guest vocalist from Catatonia, Jonas Rensky. Catatonia is Jonas, and I love his voice. I think it's super unique and fits the Ocean music so well that obviously I'm going to be stoked when he's on a track pretty much at any point. So off the bat, we're already doing great. We get to the middle, which is a Phil Collins-like interlude. And I mentioned Phil Collins because this is a drum-focused record, which I'm very happy about. I think the Ocean is at their best when they're focused and revolving around drums, because they're able to create a lot of texture and variety with their drums and build off it really well without making it just a record exclusively for drum nerds. The second last track on the album has a big, massive shot of aggression too that I really enjoyed. And then we get to the last track, which is my main complaint, which is it kind of just peters out. We had this big 2-album thing, and it's kind of like, So that sucked a little bit. It's the opposite complaint I had about the previous record. But I gave the previous record a hopeful 4, which meant I was giving it a 3.5, but figured this album would hopefully be a 4.5, which turned out to be true. So this album's sort of a 4.5, but because they're a pair, I am giving it an official 4 out of 5 skulls, continuing. Great job releasing the two, and as always, a special thank you to The Ocean for releasing an instrumental version of all their albums. It's such a cool thing to do. Thank you. It's great for fans. Please keep doing it.
Hello friends, what's happening? Daniel DK here for the viewer-voted Best of 2020 list, and I have the distinguished pleasure of covering Butcher. 666 Goats Carry My Chariot. If you're not familiar, it's Belgian black and speed band. Healthy doses of trad, Viking, and thrash as well. Record came out back in January on Osmos Productions, and I'm stoked to be covering it because it's a rad record. It's one of those awesome records that does a really, really good job at bringing all the different scenes together without really alienating anyone. It's largely in part to the way they've taken this mixed grill approach, if you will, to the building blocks of the album. It's all there. The riffs, the solos, the drums, the bass. It's all proficient. It's well done. It's crispy. It's thrashy. It's old school, but then done with this modern production and presentation. It's all on point. But let's talk vocals. This dude, R. Hellshrieker, is an absolute vocal chameleon in every sense of the word. It's all your favorite singers in one. It's Quorthon, it's Dan Beeler, it's Kronos, it's Halford, it's Tom G. Warrior. He's even got those yow, 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 like Alexi Laiho type things going on. All over the map and constantly slaying it. Unreal vocal performance. Album highlight for me, though, definitely got to be the 9-minute title track. It comes out of nowhere, and it's epic. It's like a trip down the heavy metal hall of who's who, where Butcher takes this opportunity to nod at each one of their really wide genre-spanning influences. I'm talking Ozzy to Darkthrone. It's all there. You'll hear it. Every time I listen to the song, I pick out a new riff or little vocal inflection, and I dig deeper into the makeup of this really unique-sounding band. Please, my friends, if you haven't, please listen to this record. Listen to Butcher. I saw them live last year. Can vouch. Blew my mind. This record is a definite 4 out of 5 for me, and I feel like most of you guys would agree. P.S. I forgot Hellripper on my Album of the Year list. Catch y'all in 2021.
I'm here again. This time, I'm talking about a record near and dear to my heart. It is Bell Witch and Ariel Rune, Stygian Bow, Volume 1. I already talked about it a lot. I reviewed it. If you didn't see that, you can check that out. But if you're just curious to hear me assess my feelings with a bit of distance, hey, let's do that. So pretty much everything I said about the record, I still feel in the best way. It's still a very specific record. It is not the Titanic monolith that the band has previously released that they're probably sick of hearing about at this point. But it is a really great record for a really specific mood. It's a fantastic record to just kind of decompress to, whether you're happy or sad. It can be a very cathartic record. It's weird to say that we don't have enough American anything because there's so much American stuff everywhere, but we don't have enough American folk, like true American folk in metal, I think, and this is a really singular, great entry into that thing that I think should be a much larger genre. So it really fills a unique niche and does it in a fantastic way. I am excited that it's called Volume 1 still. It just means Volume 2's even closer. And the only complaint I really had was that the sounds weren't fully meshed together, and I feel like Volume 2, that will probably happen. So I'm very optimistic, and I'm still really happy with this record. I'm glad you guys liked it because it is a unique record. It is a niche record, and it's nice to see a niche record make it to the top 10 albums of the year, right? You know, it encourages bands to experiment, and that's really one of my favorite things is bands experimenting. So, hey Bellwitch, keep experimenting. Hey Ariel Rune, keep experimenting. Keep doing this experiment. Keep doing more experiments, and you'll keep getting great scores like 4 out of 5 skulls.
Hey everyone, Dylan Gowan here. So one of your top picks this year was Deftones with their brand new 9th studio album called Ohms, which came out back in September. It's funny, the more that I listen to this album, there's 3 points I took away from it, 2 positive, 1 negative. The first point would be that the songs are very solid, especially tracks like Genesis and Ohms, how they have a really good balance of the heaviness and the hypnotic elements that they throw in. It's just really, really solid songs. Another 2 in particular that I really liked in terms of a groove and like kind of a songwriter's perspective was The Spell of Mathematics, how it's got that solid groove throughout the whole entire song where it's just... It's just so much fun to play and it's so sick. As well as This Link Is Dead, how it has this 16th note pattern where it's just... it's just so much fun to play. It's it's just an overall just a sick song. And so yeah, those 2 really stood out. The production's great. I think everything suits really, really well. You can hear everybody really clean, despite the wall of sound that the album presents itself. It definitely borrows elements from post-metal and sludge metal from a production standpoint. So despite me saying that there is a wall of sound, you can hear everybody well in the mix. And I think the overall production really suits these songs really well. And I just think it just brings a really good atmosphere to the overall presentation of this album. The only negative side I would say is that Deftones sometimes plays it a little too safe, especially on tracks like Radiant City, as well as Ceremony. I think there's just 1 or 2 elements that are missing that would elevate it from a good song to a great song. And I just want them to just be a lot more experimental with their sound in future releases. I think just going crazy, almost like a Mars Volta or Dillinger Escape Plan, would just be super, super sick. Overall, though, it's still an enjoyable album. I would give it a 3.5 out of 5 skulls. Let me know in the comment section below what you think of Ohms, and I will talk to you guys soon. Also, listen to Atheist because they're sick.
Under